Hi guys, so I thought since I have a nice new bed and my room has been completely redone and it feels really nice and I've got loads of sunlight coming through, I thought today would be a nice chance to do an Authortube video, or tag video, because I haven't done one in a while. I did one a couple of weeks ago possibly, and I quite enjoyed it. I did the Authortube work in progress tag. I want to do the NaNoWriMo one soon, but for now I thought I would do the my writing process tag by, I think I saw the bookish pen babe do this, and I think it was her video. Yeah, so let's get into it. So the first question is, what genre do you write? I write young adult fantasy, a lot of like fairy tale stuff, but recently there's been a lot of stuff that I've been writing that has like more like Greek myth and lots of other myths and like interest me as well, but Greek mythology is one that's been more of my interest at the moment. And that's what two of my first book, which I finished, my manuscript, that one is Greek myth based with lots and lots of different gods and goddesses, Hades, the underworld, Purgatory House, Mount Olympus, and things like that. But and the project that I'm going to be working on in NaNoWriMo, which I'm quite excited to write, is also based on Greek myth, but is more like a Greek Medusa sort of like retelling, which would be really, really fun. And question 2 is, what setting gets you the most productive? Now this is an interesting one because, as I said, I've had my room revamped and resorted, and I've got a really nice brand new bed. I'll probably write here for now, but I am planning to get my own little desk very soon, so that will probably become my place that will probably get me the most productive. At the moment though, I do tend to go out like sunny places, like there's loads of little picnic benches near where I live, and I go for little walks, or I went on holiday and I was writing in the caravan. We went up to Yorkshire, that was really pretty. Places with nice views. Sometimes just writing at my dinner table, or in the living room, or in my bedroom, on the floor. Used to be on the floor because sometimes I'd have to charge my laptop. I couldn't quite reach it when I was on a bunk, but you know. So this one is going to be a lot easier because we're nice and close to the floor. Okay, question 3 is, if you have multiple story ideas, so I'm reading from the book, how do you choose which to write first? This isn't really a problem for me most of the time. Like, if I find that if I really, really enjoy writing a story, I will stick to it, and I will only stick to that story. I'm not really the person to sort of like jump the gun really easily. But I do have a few projects at the moment. So at the moment I'm working on a sequel, and see NaNoWriMo's coming up, I'll be working on a brand new story, which I actually started in Cyprus. I started that while I was doing this massive edit on my first manuscript. Yeah, I just prioritise the story that interests me the most at the time and stick with it and try and go from there. And I find that the most interesting for me anyway, personally. Question 4, do you outline? I am sort of in between being a plotter and a pantser, so I outline a fair bit as I go along, and then I write it, and then I outline some more, but I also sort of like let myself go off on a tangent, not on a tangent, but like as long as I feel like it's relevant to where I think the plot should go, of course, but I let myself have a bit more free rein once I've plotted and once I'm writing that bit. So I'm sort of in between. I plot and then I write, and then I plot and then I write. Just gives me the chance to get my ideas as I go along, not just sitting there at one time and just plotting out my whole book, which I have done recently, but usually after a lot of thought through a lot of different times of sitting down, if that makes sense. But yeah, a lot of the ideas I have when I plot are from ideas that I've had over time as well. Chapter 5, or question 5, sorry. Do you start your first draft by paper, or on a computer, or a typewriter, etc.? For me, I always tend to write by notebook, so by hand first, then I type it up with NaNoWriMo on the other hand. How I won last year was by writing just by on my laptop. But then I would write, like if I was writing on my lunch break, etc. at work, I'd take my notebook with me and then I'd write. Or if I was writing in the morning, I'd write on my notebook and then type that up later, but then I'd write on my laptop when I get home once I've typed that up. Does that make sense? Yeah, so it just sort of depends on the situation, but I tend to write by hand and then type it up. Sometimes if I write on my laptop, I get stuff down more like easily or quicker. It just depends on my mood, I think. But yeah, very much generally a handwriting person. Question 6 is, what do you do to get through writer's block? I used to be able to get through writer's block like really easily. I just sort of like push through it and try my best. Now I don't have as much writing stamina as I used to, but so I don't really force myself to write as much when I don't think I need to. But especially if I really enjoy what I'm writing, I'll carry on that on for a long time. But it depends on the project and yeah, on my mood at the time. Like I said, sometimes you just really can't. Your mind just won't focus. So I try not to force myself in those times, because I know that whatever I write probably isn't going to be the best anyway. But then there also are times when I also am able to push myself through it and power through. Question 7 is, do you format your project from the beginning? So I tend to format. I used to sort of do things by handwriting. When it comes to like preparing a manuscript, I used to format that manuscript after I've edited or when I'm editing it. But now that I've got a few novels going and I've been writing, whenever I start a new novel now, I always format it from the beginning, like the way I'd want it to look, just because I feel like it sort of matches the old presentation that I have when I'm editing something, and I think I can get the writing out better then, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think it's just easier for me. I just find it easier to feel more prepared beforehand when I'm actually starting a new document. Question 8. Do you edit as you go or when you're finished? I tend to edit afterwards. Like, I don't really think about it until I've written my first draft. Like, a lot of the time, if I'm writing things in my notebook, like, if I've written a scene, when I'm looking back over that scene before I'm going to type it up or just write more from it, I'll scrawl like a little note on the actual notebook, so that when I have to type it up and when I'm ready to type it up, if I have to change something in that scene, then I'll scrawl that, say, on the top of that page, and then I'll know, and then I'll be careful when I actually go through and type it and edit it. But yeah, that's just how I work. I tend to just want to get the story out first, and I know it's never going to be perfect in the first draft, or even the second or third, whatever draft, so I tend to just get my story down first, and then worry about all of that later. But when I'm actually typing stuff up, like if I've written something handwritten first, I will sort of like be aware of the sentences I'm writing and try and change the grammar, etc., or add in extra lines or extra dialogue or whatever I need as I go along. So I sort of do edit when I type up, but not massively. Like, I don't put massive like rewrites into it until afterwards. Question 9. After finishing a draft, how long do you wait before going back over it? I am really bad at this. I have a really bad habit of going straight into editing a project as soon as I finished it, because I'm really excited because I've got a first draft of a story and I'm really excited to like query it and everything. So I get way ahead of myself. So I should leave it like I've left this project because I queried it way too early. My Greek myth one that I mentioned, that's it's called The Unfortunate Ending of Heidi Gerard. and its sequel, which I'm currently writing at the moment, before Nano comes. It just depends, basically. But yeah, I probably should wait a little bit longer. So question 10. Is there something you prefer to do while you're writing? Now, everyone's different with this. I've heard people say that they love listening to music or having TV on, or I've heard people say they just want complete silence when they're writing. I tend to have YouTube on, or like music videos on. Like my book's LGBT, so I don't know if anyone else has found this interesting or helped them write or anything, but I listen to a lot of, because my books are all LGBT, like female romance, and I listen to a lot of like Hayley Kiyoko and watch her music videos, which is actually quite cool because obviously hers are all like based on their own little stories and stuff. So if you haven't watched those, go and check them because they're really, really good, and the songs are really good, and the stories behind the music videos are also really cool. But yeah, I tend to listen to a lot of her stuff or just stuff on YouTube by singers that I like, cover videos, booktube videos, like playlist book tags sometimes, whatever I fancy at the time. I always have something on there. I don't know, it just helps me get in the zone a bit more. But everyone's different. Question 11. Do you schedule your writing sessions? Absolutely not. I don't really plan when I'm going to write, and I don't force myself, so I just sort of write when I feel like I need to write, or if I feel like I really have the urge to write, like I did in Yorkshire when I just came back a couple of days ago. And I just nearly every night, I don't know if it's because I was reading so much. I was reading Heart of Thorns by Brie Barton, and I'm yet to do a book tag for that, so I'll probably put that up soon, like a book talk. I really loved her stuff, so I found that I had the urge to write like every night, which was really nice, and I don't get that very often anymore, but I write when I can, and I write as much as I can, and I try not to do too much at once because it makes my brain really tired the next morning. When I'm editing, however, I'm the opposite. Like I will just want to do it every free minute I get, but it's probably because I know that I want to get a project like finished and complete, and again getting all excited and wanting to query, which is a bad habit, so don't do that. So question 12. Do you have word count or chapter goals for each session? Again, definitely not. Kind of goes with the same sort of thing that I just said. Like, I like to have little goals. Like, I will try and write as much as I can, but usually I can write pretty fast if I'm really enjoying a chapter or a scene. Like, I can write, and then I know that I'll have to edit it later on to make it like go even better. But sometimes I can write like 2 pages handwritten, like 3, 4, depending on how fast I want to write and how long I've got. And sometimes I want to read, so I'll read instead. I'll read a bit and then I'll write a bit, or I'll write a bit and then read a bit, or sometimes I'll switch it around and I'll just sort of see where my mood takes me. And yeah, I do write quite a lot though. I don't write as much as I used to, I admit, because of this not wanting to force myself, but I do write a lot. There's no other way to say it. Like, everyone who knows me from Facebook, like, or just friends in general, knows that I cannot stop myself when I'm reading a project. Chapter 13. Well, question 13. I keep saying chapter. Do you do anything quirky for your projects? Not really. I imagine the characters in my head. Isn't that quirky enough? No, not really. I suppose some people probably draw their characters. I wish I could do that, but I'm not good at drawing. Writing is my thing. Question 14. Do you work on multiple projects at a time? At the moment, yes. I wrote a book called My Beloved Fairy Tale, which is still in its first draft. I was really enjoying that, but then I switched over to Cyprus novel, which I've literally started writing in Cyprus, which is now going to be called Goldress, and The Unfortunate Ending of Heidi Gerard, and then the sequel to The Unfortunate Ending is called A New Dawn from Eleanor Hades, and I mentioned this in my Authortube work in progress tag, which you can see on my channel. So I'm working on the sequel at the moment, and then I'm going to be working on Goldress, but my beloved fairy tale is pushed to the side, and I'm currently trying to query The Unfortunate Ending. So, question 15. Do you research what you're writing? I had to do a lot of research for Greek myth stories, of course, so yeah, I suppose. I watch a lot of videos online about Greek myth, like Greek gods and goddesses that I've used recently actually. Tartarus has become a thing. Lots and lots of Greek myth stories of different, and just working out how they all connect, and like a lot of stuff online. Anything that seems pretty relevant really, that I think I could use towards the plot of my story basically. And I consider all of that research when I start outlining and then writing. Question 16. How do you organise your projects? Mostly by Word documents. Then when I've worked on something new, I will say a new chapter or a new scene, I'll send it to myself by email, and that's how I look after all of my stuff. And I just do new chapter whatever, and then go on from there. And I put their titles together and just organise them as I think they should be. Question 17. Do you punish or reward yourself when you don't meet writing goals? Not really. I reward myself with things like chocolate, Lucozade cherry. No, I just try to be relaxed about it, but also get lots done, and I'm really happy when I do, so I try my best to just, like, sometimes if I've done a lot of writing, like in the morning or early afternoon, I'll go out and get some food or whatever, but nothing particularly official. I like to think that if I got an agent or got a book deal or whatever else, that I would probably do something then, but yeah, not at the moment. Question 18. Are there any works similar to yours that you use for inspiration? When it comes to my Greek myth stuff, probably the one that I found is the closest is probably Afterworlds by Scott Westfeld, because it features a death god, and it's also female romance. Winter Song, and its sequel Shadow Song, which I haven't yet read, but I have that on my shelf and I can see it right now. Yeah, they're the ones that I found that are most similar. Can't really find anything at the moment, so if anyone knows of anything like Greek myth and they'd like to tell me, then please drop that below, because that would be pretty cool to read some more. I'm sure there's more that I can't think of right now on top of my head. Anyway, chapter 19, or question 19, what was wrong with me? How early did you start looking for and hiring editors? I don't tend to do that. I tend to find critique partners. I had a really nice critique partner I found on Twitter, and she gave me a lot of feedback on my manuscript, which meant that I was able to completely change it, and that was really, really fun. Like, it was really, she had some, like, obviously a lot of critique, which meant I changed, like, my entire book, but it helped, and it got the book to where I wanted it to be. And then when I went to Yauk, I ended up meeting an agent there, as on like a pitching event. She wasn't taking on anything at the moment. I think she liked my premise, but she said that basically it's way too long for a YA novel, so I needed to cut it down, and I did. So I ended up cutting my novel down by 30,000 words. But I did it, so I was happy. But yeah, critique partners are a very good thing. And last question, question 20. If you finished the first draft of manuscript, tell us how you're feeling about it. I like this question. I am actually pretty happy about the unfortunate ending. I'm querying it at the moment, and I've had a lot of like forum responses, but like all the queries I've sent out, I've probably got a couple of agents left that I haven't heard from, but I'm not sure. I'm really proud of the story and of the manuscript, so I just like to think that it will get picked up one day. But if not, then I'll just keep writing novels and keep querying, and one day I'll get there. So yeah, that was my Authortube work in progress writing processes tag. So yeah, drop me a link to yours down below and let me know what you think of your own stories, how you think they're going, and we can chat, because yeah, I'd like to meet more author people on YouTube. Also, I use Twitter like very regularly, so if you want to follow me there, it's AprilGrace1 and AprilGraceReads, sorry, for Twitter. Instagram is AprilGrace1, and I do a lot of like bookish and writerly stuff on both of those, so follow me there. And I'm just really happy that I've got my nice new bed, and I can be like a starfish and roll around because I've got so much space. I also have a minion and Sven. So yeah, thank you guys, and I will be back with another video soon, probably the Authortube NaNoWriMo tag, because I mean to do that. So yeah, I will talk to you guys in another video. Bye!